And welcome back to another video on how to become a business consulting freelancer. So, on the section 4, right, and how to gather quality data and conduct a proper research, okay, the TLDR of this is that first, identify where the most valuable data come from, whether it's a company, which is the first and the most valuable data, the first party data, from trust sources. They have a great record, a research report, peer review, as well as aggregate source. This is the least valuable because you can check all the author involved in that. Okay, but if you can have access to the first party data, or there are few reliable sources, you can add that into your report. And then when you go to conduct a report, well, from a broad perspective, see things from different angles, play devil advocates because things are not black and white. Okay, see things from different perspectives, gather relevant data, as well as take notes and record every source you obtain, qualify that, and then go back to the client. So uh, the guidelines of how to conduct a research, right? And gather quality data. Identify is the most valuable data, the first party, second party, and third party, and then, well, look things from different perspectives, gather relevant data from the consulting project, as well as getting and keep record of every source you obtain and make notes, qualify the data, and then sorry and then circle back with the client. So don't forget to get feedback from the client. And then I look at particular guideline on how the zero to mastery structure Paul Mendes mentioned. Okay, from the Google's marketing, okay, for the marketing Google's, he mentioned that. So when he looked at a particular tourist website, okay, the first thing he does, or the first thing he did, it was understanding all the product and service, uh, in understanding all the products and service first, and then go into the specific, which is looking at the categories, their pricing, how much they charge, company's review, what makes this company unique, and then if you can have access, go to the first party data. And then this is something that is behind to some NDA agreement, okay? And then this is what you're gonna use to see how this company have been performed, what they have done in the past, and see how you can provide your suggestions. So once you conduct the research for their brand, their website, how much they charge, the categories, what makes this company unique, then is where you're going to look at the competitor analysis to figuring out who the other players in that industry are. And that is see what you can learn from them, okay, and make a keyword research, which is something that you're going to use based on a keyword research tool out there from Google or any other company to know what's going on in that industry. And from there, and on top of that, you're going to perform a global research to get up to data from the world news to see how that everything that you have researched, what is most likely to work today, and that including is where this industry is going and how this industry is adapting to regulations. So because of that, then I look at how can I do that on the e-commerce sphere by creating a practical or a practice for that. Okay, a practice on how to conduct a research specifically on how to build a POC e-commerce with a bunch of web technology that is out of the scope of this course. But the whole point of this is to understand what an e-commerce, okay, and conduct that research by looking a source such as Amazon when they mention that this is the trade of goods and service on the internet. It is your bustling city center or your brick and mortar shops that is converted into zeros and one on the internet super highway. In Shopify mentioned, yes, while e-business refers to operating all aspects of an online business, and the specific business activity are marketing, where they conduct market research, develop marketing strategies, create campaign ads, monitoring and manage social networks, sales, where now they identify potential sale leads, or identifies potential leads. Uh, they make a video presentation or sales call. They negotiate contract and close deal. Again, this is a huge oversimplification of what are the things that the sales have to do. Okay, which is identifying potential clients, and the way you can do that using as well some of the content that Paul Mendes, this zero to mastery structure, mentioned is the solution selling process, which in other words is to identify opportunities or needs to solve the challenge that a client is having. Okay, so the sales team, that's exactly what it does. It's like identify pain points or identify sale leads, customer lists, uh, and then contact them via sales calls or presentations, negotiate contract, and close deal. The closers, the closers. And you also have his accountant, which is keep track every financial records, booking, as well as account receivable and account payable, manage taxes. The human research responsible for recruiting talent or recruiting and hiring talent, manage payrolls and benefits, as well as training for employees and conflict resolutions among employees. The management process, where this is more focused on the improving or improve certain operations or business operations, identify and set quality standards for that, and improve the existing operating activities. The IT, which is responsible for uh, creating and maintaining computer networks, develop and implementing software systems, provide technical support, and secure data. And the customer support, well, is more orientated to uh, address customer inquires. Uh, yeah, address customer inquires, which is something that I'm reparaphrasing here from ChatGPT when I ask the most or the business specific activity, and it is example where we have that is software engineers. You got it. specific business activities like this. Okay, all right. And then you get this. So the customer relationship, which is responding to user or responding to customer inquiries, handling complaints and refunds, providing technical support, and ensuring customer satisfaction. Where now the vast majority of workers are on this section, as well as the operation, So in operations and customer service, right? Uh, there is a very highly technical people that are here, as well as the vast majority of people, as well as on sales. So, but in other words, so customer service, responding to customer inquiries, handling complaints and refunds, providing technical support, and ensuring customer satisfaction. Very, very important. Ensuring customer satisfaction. Research and development and R&D. Okay, so conducting research to develop or to improve new products. Conducting research to develop a new products or improve existing one. So testing products and prototypes and delivering intellectual property such as patent and trademark. Interesting. Developing intellectual property such as patent and trademarks. Okay, so once I look at the specific business activity based on the question that I asked from what is an e-commerce according to Spotify, Shopify, and they mention is well that while e-business refers to operating all aspect of an online business, which is marketing, which conduct a market research, develop marketing strategies, create campaigns, manage social networks, sales, identify potential customer and sell leads, make sales calls or presentations, negotiate contract, and closing deals. Accounting, well, record financial transactions, creating financial report, managing, okay, so recording financial transactions, creating financial reports, managing account payables and receivables, and preparing tax return. Okay, human research, well, is recruiting and hiring employees, administering benefits and payroll, providing employee training, as well as managing conflict or handling employee relationship issue. Operating management focus on developing and implementing this production process, set quality standards, improve and optimize controls or in process. The IT, which is responsible for managing computer networks, implementing and developing and implementing software systems, as well as providing technical support and ensuring data security. Whereas customer service, responding to customer inquiries, that's one. So responding to customer inquiries. So responding to customer inquiries. Okay. So responding to customer inquiries. yeah, so response to customer inquiries. Okay. Yeah, so responding to customer inquiries. Uh, responding to customer inquiry, responding to customer inquiries, handling, uh, yeah, responding to customer inquiries, handling complaint and refunds, provide technical service, provide technical support, and ensuring customer satisfaction, as well as research and development that they develop or conduct research to develop new products or improve existing ones, testing prototypes, and developing intellectual property such as patent and trademark. And that to me is something very, very important, at least to know from ChatGPT. Okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, okay. E-commerce refers specifically to the transaction of good and service. That's all. That's all. Specifically to the transaction of good and service on the internet, according to Shopify. So then I look at the most common type of e-commerce, or aka business model, as well as the actors. So you have is the government, business, and consumers. The most widely business model is the business to consumers, where here you have is online retailers like Amazon, Costco, Walmart, eBay, digital marketplace like Etsy, eBay, subscription service like Netflix, Spotify, book online travel and booking like Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia.com, and ordering food and delivering service such as Grubhub, specifically for the United States and the US, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. The other is the business to business, such as online marketplace like Amazon Business, eBay Business, Alibaba, EDI, electronic data interchange, paperwork that were traditionally made on paper, like invoice or purchase order. Now it is done electronically through these systems. EBM or IBM provide that. Online portals for very large business. So when they have or when they want to streamline their procurement portals, procurement process, or uh, their supply chain, well, they said online portals to streamline, such as SAP Arriva Network or the yeah, such as SAP Arriva Network uh, or Walmart Wholesale or Walmart Supplier Centers. Again, the whole point of this is to streamline the supply chain and procurement portals, which is usually involved in the purchase or sales in of large volume, usually to get a good bid. Wholesales, uh, such as Grainger and Uline, and business-to-business payment solution like PayPal or Stripe. Okay, another business model is the consumer to business, where now freelance work is one of them. Survey online survey like SurveyMonkey, Indiegogo, or Kickstarter. This crowdfunding, user-generated content like uh, media or digital media that influencers or users generate to sell that to business, such as Jingle, for example. And reverse auctions, where now consumers can price a quota uh, on that. Okay, so consumers can price a quota on product that a business offer in a reverse auction. Okay, so Priceline is one of the examples. Then you have is the government to business, such as public procurement portals like the FBO in the US or the RHM Custom and Revenue on the UK, tax filing and payment systems like the electronic federal tax payment system on the US or the HM Custom and Revenue in the UK, permit and license applications like food permits or build like food license or building permits, international trade and custom clearance, where now governments facilitate business do this cross-border trade, like electronic custom clearance or uh, like electronic custom clearance or export declaration and business registration, like the SBA in the US or the company house on the UK. And another business model is the consumers to business, consumer to government. I mean, yeah, the government to consumers. And here is, well, they offer tax payment portals, driving licensing and application, passport renewals, ordering birth and death certificates, such as the National Center for Health Statistics in the US, or the General Register Office in the UK. All right. Uh, mhm. As well as the okay. So where we are, okay. So looking at the different, how do you say that? Different, looking at the different customer, yeah, looking at the different uh, business model. Okay. Um, and then once I conduct the research, and then I also look at the most common type of the e-commerce, um, as well as the where does it take place, the e-commerce in mobile, in the corporations and the social networks, social media. Well, now the point of this is, mhm. So the point of this is to understand first uh, more about the e-commerce, about so what is the e-commerce? What are the type of e-commerce? A couple example, real life examples, as well as where does it take place, and then conduct a competitor analysis by looking at the LinkedIn articles on e-commerce such as Alibaba, Amazon, IKEA, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, right? And understand that now that I conduct this research on the e-commerce, it is time to put a practice uh, everything that you have researched into visually engaging presentations, okay? Which is the next section here. And understand that, okay? Which is like this, the art of the presentation is that, well, once you conduct that research, now it's time to put that at practice. Now it is time to know how to do that in a visually engaging presentation. Because after all, as human, we process image much more faster, and displaying this image with statistic and charts and pointing out what are the meaningful patterns that as a consultant the client needs to know how you reach the conclusions. And once they know that, from them you can is provide your suggestions. And the way to do that is, well, before creating a report, you must know that any data that you collect, uh, you should precisely know how to use that data. Exactly. So before you create a report, when you conduct your research, you know how to use that data. Uh, Put the most valuable data first, because you don't want the client forgot, or you don't want the client start to forget what was the most important thing, or what you don't want the client to forget what the most important thing was. So you need to lay down the ground first, put the most relevant information, and expand that with visual reports and different aesthetics. So create a template is something is useful, especially if you have recurring clients, and visualize data with graph and charts, because from the MIT news we can process, or we can identify, the neuroscientists find the brain can identify image scenes for as little as 13 milliseconds. Okay, and with data visualization helps to make informed decisions. So what are the most charts that we can use here? Okay, again, because all of that was based on the so all of this was based on this entire overview that I made on how to conduct a research. Okay, on on how to conduct the research. What are the guidelines? And then I put that at practice when I conduct a research for the e-commerce sphere, which is know what an e-commerce is, what are the type of e-commerce, aka business models, what are the actors involved, as well as examples, and understand where e-commerce takes place, a competitor analysis to figuring out who the other players in that industry are, okay, as and a keyword research to know what's going on in that industry. And then, well, looking right now, I'm describing is how to conduct a research. So how to create visually engaging presentation once you conduct a research, once you gather this data. And again, most of the time people are more visual learners, so we can process data much more faster than text. And by displaying his data with statistics and charts and point out what are the meaningful patterns, and as a consultant the client wants to know, hey, how do you come to these conclusions? And once they know that, you can then suggest and develop and implement your recommendations. So before creating a report, you need to precisely know how to use the data that you collect. And then that is, well, lay out the foundations of here is lay out the foundation by, after that, putting the most impactful data first, and then expand on that with visual reports and different aesthetics. Okay, so create templates when needed. All right, create templates when needed, especially if you have recurring clients like this, and visualize the data with graph and bar, because according to an MIT study performed in 2014, we can neuroscientists find out that the brain can process image or can identify image scenes for as little as 13 milliseconds. So data visualization help you to make informed decisions. And the most graph that we can use and charts is going to depend on the use case. So if you have different items to compare or show change over time as part of a whole, well, bar charts are the way to go. Okay, bar charts are for show change in time or compare different category as part of a whole. Pie charts is somewhat similar, but here they are most impactful with small data set. Again, if you want to make comparison, the par as if you want to make comparison, uh, if you want to make part to whole comparison with discrete or continuous data, according to Data Hero, this North American San Francisco startups marketing agency. And then you have line graph, okay, which is the most common use for line graph is when you want to show time series relationship such as trends, acceleration, deceleration, or volatility. Okay, an area graph is a mix. Uh, mm, yeah, an area graph is also depict time series relationship, but they are different. But they are different. Mhm. So most common use cases also depict. Yeah, the most common use case are a chart, right? The most common use case when you want from time series relationship, but they are different that the line chart in that they can represent volume. So unlike line graph, okay, here you can see as well the relationship of time series. Okay, with our chart you can see the relationship of time series. With our chart you can see the relationship of time series with volume, meaning that they can show three variables. And when it comes to scatter plot and bubble chart, so scatter plot is you want to see the relationship between items on a two set of variables. So for example, customer happiness and time to respond. Okay, so show correlations among data. Bubble charts somewhat works the same way because here you can display nominal comparison or ranking relationship. Nominal is data that is not order, so where order doesn't matter. Okay, such as age, favorite color, type of hair. Okay, and they showcase three variables of data and then a combo of scatter plot and proportional area chart. Okay, helpful comparing multiple data points on the same chart. Okay, and then you have heat maps. Okay, so heat map. So the most common use case with heat map, okay, is to display categorical data using displays categorical data using intensity of colors to represent value of a geographical area of data table. An example is the GitHub uh, code push, the GitHub, uh, the GitHub code push here, right? Or this contribution settings, right? Private contributions, activity overview. But I don't think that this is no. I don't think that this is public. Exactly. But okay. All right. So yeah, that's heat map. Okay. So it display categorical data using intensity of color to represent value of geographical areas or data tables. To represent value of geographical data or data tables according to data hero. Okay, so categorical data is a type of data that represents qualitative information. Qualitative, qualitative, qualitative information or characteristics that can be grouped into categories or class. It consists of values that are limited to a particular set of categories, which may be nominal or ordinal. So nominal category data refers to data that does not have any inherent order, and the categories are simply labels used to differentiate between groups. For example, the gender of individuals, the type of vehicles, or color of products. Again, the categorical data is a type that represents qualitative, qualitative, qualitative information. Okay, categorical data is a type of data that represents qualitative information or characteristic that can be grouped into categories or class. It consists of values that are limited to a particular set of categories, which may be nominal or ordinal. So nominal category data refers to data that does not have any inherent order, and the category are simple labels used to differentiate between groups. For example, the gender of individual, the type of vehicle, or the color of the product. Then you have ordinal category data. Refers to data that has a natural order or hierarchy among its category. But the whole point of this is categorical data is qualitative. It represents qualitative. It represents qualitative data of characteristics that can be grouped, whether it's nominal or ordinal, where nominal, the order doesn't matter, or they don't have inherent order, such as gender, marital status, ethnicity, eye colors, country. And ordinal data has has a natural order or hierarchy among its categories. Okay, like education levels, income brackets, job seniority, mm, health status, star rating for a product. Mhm. Okay, okay. So that's heat maps. Okay, display categorical data using intensity of color. Display categorical data using intensity of colors uh, that represent values of geographical areas or data tables. And this categorical data uh, is data, is quality data that can be grouped into class, whether it's nominal or ordinal, where the first means that it is it has an inherent order, a nominal, sorry, when nominal means that they don't have an inherent order, such as marital status, gender, ethnicity, country, eye colors, whereas ordinal, it has an inherent order, such as education levels, income brackets, job seniority, health status, star rating, okay? And then you have heat maps, okay? And the next is geomap and tables, waterfall charts and pictographs. Okay, then you have this. Geomap here. Maps plotting data on geographical map. Geographical maps, geomaps. So geomaps, geomaps, maps plotting data on geomaps, showing distribution of data across regions. Maps plotting, maps plotting data on geomap, showing the distribution of data across regions. And also you have tables. Also you have tables. Simplest way to compare cells by cells representative block views, block where block views are coming from. And then you have is here this. Waterfall to see progress charts. Show value over time. Show value over time and how various cohorts perform over time, and pictogram. And pictogram. Pictogram. Simple way to display statistic using icons. Simple way to display statistics using icons. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.